On today's Primetime Local News, the 2022 CPCA Finals kick off in Lloydminster. And Lloydminster City Council considers a multi-year partnership with the Lloyd-X. Plus, we take you to the Lloydminster Bobcats sold-out hockey school.
Primetime Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
It's the most important time of the year for the CPCA. The new Lloydminster Nissan CPCA Finals started last night, and our Thomas Wildman has more on the first night of racing.
There goes the Lamley's Western Wear horn.
There were 8 excellent heats of racing last night from all the drivers of the CPCA. This is the last chance these drivers have to gain points in order to be the top 4 in the CPCA standings to race for the CPCA Championship. Currently in those coveted 4 spots are Todd Baptiste, Preston Faithful, Logan Gorst, and leading the pack is Jamie Labicane. Labicane is thankful for having a bit of a points cushion heading into the finals.
That's where you want to be. Had a bit of a cushion going into tonight, about 28.5 points. I think after tonight's run, depending on how it all works out, I think Logan might gain 8 on me tonight, so it'll drop down to only 20 points. Tomorrow I go to the 1. I have the inside of him for 2 nights, and then he comes back on the inside of me on the last night. So,
on top of being a top competitor with his wagon that he races for points, Labicane also has a second non-point wagon that he has been racing with and really enjoys the 2-outfit setup he has been running.
We try to do it every year. I've been doing it for my whole career pretty well, except for my rookie and second year, I guess. Last year, though, we ran out of horses, so I had to drop down to 1 outfit coming into the last 3 shows. So it's been really rewarding this year. It's good for me driving. It's good for the new horses to get them in the mix, and then it's good for the sport to see more guys out there on the racetracks to fill heats. So all in all, I really think my sponsors appreciate it too. So it's a good deal.
The finals will continue all weekend, ending with an exciting dash for the championship on Championship Sunday. Thomas Wildman, Primetime Local News.
The City of Lloydminster is considering entering a multi-year partnership agreement with the Lloydminster Exhibition Association. Our Sarah Baker has a story.
The Lloydminster Exhibition is a major economic driver for the city. And since the city already sponsors many of the events, it makes sense to many councillors for this agreement to happen.
So we already know with this partnership we have with the Lloyd-X and the great things that they do for our community, we already know we're going to do a certain amount of business with them. So why not make it formal in an agreement where we will provide them funding over the next few years and allow them to plan their operations accordingly.
While most councillors were in agreement, some questioned what exactly makes the Lloyd exhibition special and why should they enter into this agreement.
What are we doing to make things as fair and equitable as possible? If we're going to be sponsoring things and providing funding to do things, what makes the Lloyd-X different than any other nonprofit in the community? So I think it's a fair question to ask.
The multi-year agreement will allow both the city and the Lloyd exhibition to reduce administration costs on multiple event partnerships each year, as well as helping to assist in budget planning.
It has benefits for both organizations. It gives the city the ability to plan for that expenditures going forward for the next couple of years, as well as for the Lloyd-X, knowing that there's a certain amount of funding coming. It has the ability to be adjusted accordingly with programs being offered and events being held at the Lloyd-X. If we feel that we'd like to sponsor a particular event that's beneficial to the community, it gives us that opportunity. So there's flexibility built into the proposed agreement.
The decision whether or not to enter into an agreement will be made at a future meeting. Sarah Baker, Primetime Local News.
A heat wave continues to build across parts of Alberta and British Columbia with temperatures exceeding 30 degrees. It has Environment Canada and health officials once again urging caution.
It's indoor temperatures that can be the biggest risk for people, particularly in the home, where most people, and in particular a lot of people who are at high risk, spend most of their time.
Parts of BC are now in the middle of the 3rd heat warning of the summer. Indoor temperatures are the biggest concern. Most of the 619 people who died during last year's heat dome were inside. Areas of Alberta are also dealing with sweltering conditions, which forecasters say could possibly extend into the weekend. And on that note, it's time to check in with Adil Ahmed, who has a look at our evening weather forecast.
Thank you so much, Jace Mackey. Yes, we're taking a look at our first weather forecast of the evening here. We're going to start off here at the Lloydminster Airport, currently sitting at 27 degrees right now with a mix of some sun and cloud there. Humidity isn't looking too bad there at 38%. So overall here in the border city, everything's looking just fine. Now, as we take a look at our central region here in Alberta, looking at Bonneville, St. Paul, and Vegreville, all sitting at 28 degrees right now. Vermilion and Wainwright also sitting at that late 20 mark there as well, and then followed by Lac La Biche and Edmonton as well. So it's pretty much around the same area there, just around the Alberta side. Now moving over to our Saskatchewan side here, Meadow Lake, Isle Cross, St. Walburg, all sitting in that late 20 range there, and then North Battleford and Pearson are looking the warmest of all there at 29 degrees. So Saskatchewan side is also looking the same as the Alberta side over there, so it's fairly warm around this time of the year, to say the least, which is nice. So now looking at North Battleford, though, in our overnight temperatures there, it's going to be a low of 11 degrees there, no precipitation at all by any means, which is going to be nice there for them. And then waking up tomorrow, it's going to be the same as it is right now there at 29 degrees, all sunshine there, no mix of sun and cloud there at all, so it's going to be nice out there. And then we shift over to Cold Lake overnight there. The low temperatures there is going to be at 14 degrees overnight here. Same thing, no precipitation at all, no clouds in sight there, which is nice. And then waking up tomorrow, it's going to be the same as it is right now at 30 degrees as a high. Mix of sun and cloud there, though, at Cold Lake. And then we come back here to the border city overnight. It's going to be a low of 14 degrees as well, no precipitation at all there. And then waking up in the morning, it's going to be a high of 29 degrees there in the border city. So overall nice temperatures here in the city. And then we're going to wrap up with our 3-day forecast here in the border city. Starting off on Friday, it's going to be scorching. 29 degrees there as a daytime high, and then a low of 14. And then going into the weekend, it's going to stay the same. On Saturday, it's going to be the warmest of all at 31 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. And then Championship Sunday at the CPCA Finals, we're going to see some precipitations there at a high of 23 degrees and then a low of 16. That's all our weather for now. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. The Alberta beef producers are bringing back their annual Young Guns contest. The contest is open to those aged 8 to 21 involved in beef 4-H, junior cattle shows, or beef production. This year's contest centers around the ABP's summer marketing campaign, asking beef lovers to declare their burger eating style.
It's part of our consumer campaign, so we were hoping to just find some synergy between this Youth Engagement Award and with our consumer marketing. So we're asking entries to focus on the health benefits of making burgers part of your summer.
The first place winner will receive $1,000, and submissions received before August 31st will be entered into a draw for a grilling prize pack.
We're looking for written pieces, presentations, video content, or a social media campaign, or even a blog post or a media pitch.
Entry forms along with contest rules can be found at albertabeef.org. A familiar hockey school here in the border city kicked off earlier this week. Our Adil Ahmed went down to the Civic Center to find out more.
Just making sure that the kids are having lots of fun out there, lots of activities.
That was the theme in day number 4 of Bobcats Hockey School. With all types of drills and activities going on, kids have a chance to learn from current Bobcat players like Cade Fondele, who grew up in the border city. Having gone through the hockey school himself as a kid, Fondele says opportunities like these can help the younger kids get to the next level.
For sure, it sets them on the path, like it gives them goals that they want to achieve, so hopefully they can get there someday.
Another current Bobcat player that was in attendance was Oren Olsen, who says being a mentor to the younger kids is an honor.
Well, it means a lot. Just when I was a little kid, going to hockey schools and stuff, knowing how much I looked up to those big hockey players.
Head coach and GM Nigel Dubé was also out on the ice Thursday morning and says having the sold-out Bobcats hockey school is always a great opportunity for kids to join, whether they have experience or not.
Really humbling. I think the other part too is that it's open to all skill sets. That's a big part. Whether you're experienced or not, it'll be challenging for you. And then the seeing at the start of the week where players are at and when they leave at the end of the week and the improvements that they make, and I think that's a big part of it.
The Bobcats hockey school will go on until August 19th and then continue on next week from the 22nd to the 25th. Adil Ahmed, Primetime, Local Sports.
We're fast approaching the 2-week mark of the 2022 Niagara Summer Games, and it's safe to say these games have been one for the history books. Kyrell Sapoptic used to have dreams of playing in the NHL before his accident that left him paralyzed in 2021. He played for the Kamloops Blazers. Well, today, after only a year of training in parasports, he brought home a bronze medal in the 1,500-meter wheelchair category for Team Saskatchewan. For many of these athletes, these summer games have been more than they could have hoped for.
For women's especially. And it was just like a big moment for me, and I was just like happy and excited that I get to be like a role model for younger women, and it's a lot to soak in.
Team Alberta and Saskatchewan faced off in the women's basketball grand final, where Team Alberta took the victory 71-60. Currently, Team Alberta is in 4th in the games with 70 medals, 25 of them being gold. Team Saskatchewan is in 8th place, still searching for their first gold medal. Ontario is still firmly comfortable in the lead with 119 medals, 36 more than the next closest province, which is British Columbia. And now it's time for us to check in once again with Adil Ahmed, who has an extended look at your evening weather forecast.
Thank you very much, Jace. Yes, so we're taking a look at our extended weather forecast here this evening. We're going to be starting off with the Alberta side first. Starting off with Edmonton sitting at 29 degrees, Athabasca and Whitecourt all sitting at 28. And then Jasper is looking the hottest of all at 32 degrees. They were just sitting in the low 20s yesterday, so they took quite a jump there. And then if we look further down, Red Deer and Rocky Mountain House all sitting in the late 20 range there. And then now we switch over to our Saskatchewan side. Meadow Lake, Prince Albert, all sitting at 28 and 29 respectively. And then Melfort is looking the coldest at 24. And then North Battleford and Saskatoon all hitting that late 20 range there. So overall, some good temperatures there on the Sask and Alberta side. If we go up to our northern zone here, Uranium City and Stony Rapids, Wolston Lake, all at 26 degrees. Flin Flon and La Ronge, all at 24 and 25 respectively. And then South End is looking the coldest a little bit there at 23 degrees. And then now if I switch over to our southern zone there, Calgary and Banff at 30 and 32 degrees there. And then Lethbridge is also looking very warm there right now at 32 degrees as well. Same thing with Medicine Hat as well. And then if we switch over to our southern Saskatchewan side here, Regina and Moose Jaw at 28 and 29 degrees respectively. Yorkton right now sitting at 23 degrees right now. And then Estevan is also just alongside Regina and Moose Jaw rather at that late 20 range there. And then just looking at our overnight temperatures here around the region, most of all, Meadow Lake, Bonneville, all sitting at 13 and 14 degrees as a low. And then Isla Cross is looking the warmest there at a low of 17 degrees. Pierceland and Unity and Wainwright all sitting at that early 10-degree range there at 13 and 11 respectively. And Mirren and Provost are also sitting at 12 degrees there overnight. No precipitation in sight for any of these towns listed up here. And then looking at our 7-day forecast here in the border city, starting off on Friday, it's going to be really hot here in the border city at 29 degrees. No clouds in sight there. It's going to be all sunshines there. And then heading into Saturday, we're going to be seeing a high of 31 degrees there with a mix of some sun and cloud there, and then a low of 16 overnight. And then going into Sunday, we're going to be seeing a high of 23 degrees there with a mix of some precipitation rather. And then going later into the week there, Monday through Tuesday, it's going to be sitting at 25 degrees as well as Wednesday. And then going into Thursday there, it's going to wrap up the week here at 27 degrees as a daytime high. No clouds in sight for there as well, at a low of 12 degrees on Thursday. Averages around this time of the year are at a high of 23 degrees and a low of 9 degrees. That is all our weather for now. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
I'm joined here today for Primetime Local News with Nicole Garner with Northern Lights Public Schools. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, Nicole.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, glad to be able to speak with you because, you know, that time is coming up here now, back to school for students and parents, of course. So we want to be able to speak with you because we know we've seen that NLPS has let out some tips online to just be able to let people get some suggestions on helping with stress and anxiety. So now, can we go a little bit more into it with what tips NLPS is giving out to help families for preparation?
So there are a few things that you can do to help get your kids ready from a mental health perspective for the new school year. You know, with some kids, it's easy. They're excited to go back to school. They want to see their friends. They want to get back into sports again. They're really eager to go. For other kids, they get a little more anxious and stressed, especially if they're going to a new school or it's maybe a new group of kids, or some of them maybe even, you know, be new to the community. And so they really don't know anybody going into a new school. So that can be really stressful. And I think it's important, you know, to take some time to do as much as you can to try to alleviate that so they're ready to learn when they go to school on that first day. So a few of the things that we recommend, and these work for all kids too, because, you know, you tend to get out of your routine a lot over the summer, right? You get to sleep in, you're maybe not eating lunch at the same time and stuff. So just try to ease back into that routine a couple weeks before school starts, get more of a regular bedtime and wake up at the time that you're going to wake up on a school day, just so they're not really tired the first day of school. That of course helps with mental health too, because if you're tired, then you're less able to deal with the stressors that you might encounter on that first day of school. Some of the other things are just to have those conversations with your kids about what they may be feeling anxious about. And it might not be the obvious things, right? It could be as much as, you know, oh, I'm worried that my locker isn't going to be next to my friend, or I'm not going to sit next to them in class, or we're not going to be in the same class together. So have those conversations about what is making them feel anxious or stressed about the upcoming school year, and discuss ways that you can deal with that. I mean, some of it might even be things that you can do before the school year starts. Another thing you can do is plan for those healthy meals and snacks. Of course, one of the ways to keep our brains healthy and in the right frame of mind to tackle challenges, in addition to sleep, is to be eating well and nutritious. And it can be a fun way to get ready for going back to school, by focusing on, you know, what they're going to eat for lunch or snacks, and making that fun, and maybe even trying some new foods. And of course, they can help with that too. So it gives you an activity to do leading up to school as well. And then another thing that we kind of recommend, especially if you had those conversations about what they're anxious or stressed about with the new school year, is being proactive with those. So if one of the things they're worried about is walking to school, you know, figure out who they're going to walk to school with, walk that route beforehand. You know, what are the things that they're going to encounter on the way there? Do they have a new bus stop? Where is it? Can you go visit it? And, you know, if it has to do with something specific to the school is usually open a few days before students actually go back. So there may be an opportunity to go in and get a tour or visit, or talk to someone at the school about your specific things that you're needing to know.
And I know you were saying a little bit at the beginning there, but why do you believe that these suggestions are so important for students and parents to try?
For the last few years, we've had mental health as a priority for the school division. We've really been focused on student mental health and ways that we can focus on that and address it through different things. So when you're going back to school, you know, everyone sometimes gets focused on, oh, we need new sneakers and school supplies and all those things to prep for the school year. And it's important that we're also looking at our mental health too. And, you know, in an ideal world, you know, we would have all of our students come to school and be ready to learn on that first day and be regulated and stuff. But we know that's not the case. There are lots of reasons for them to be anxious. It's something new. Just prior to the end of the school year, we actually did an online session with parents on novelty stress, which is the stress associated with new experiences. And so for lots of kids, this will be a new experience, right? It could be a new school, it's a new grade, a new group of kids, a new teacher. And so all that newness can create some anxiety. And so the more that we can work with our families and with our students beforehand to alleviate or address some of those issues, the better that first day of school will go for everybody.
Now, has NLPS always had this mental health checklist online for people to view, or is this kind of a new initiative for this?
Yeah, we've done it for a couple of years now, and it's just sort of to get people in that mindset of here are some other things you may want to think about as you are making your preparations for the new school year, and some things that you may not have thought of. And so, yeah, we just really want to support all of our families with the best information that we can that will help them get ready for the school year. So right along with giving out school supply lists and, you know, checking websites to see, you know, what teachers are out of school this year and all of those other things, you know, we also have a Meet the Bus program for kids who are new to the bus. So all of that, but just all these things that mentally prepare students for school as well.
Perfect, Nicole. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us today. I was really glad to be able to speak with you and help get the word out, especially for families around here and watching this are preparing for the upcoming school year. You know, mental health is top priority. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to a great 2022-2023 school year.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
First off, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. It's an absolute pleasure. Now, you are this incredible pop country artist out of Olds, Alberta, with a new song called Small Town, which we're going to be talking about here in a few minutes. But first, tell us a bit about yourself.
Of course. Well, I'm Liz, and I grew up as you just said, I grew up on a farm near a small town called Olds. And I've been writing songs for like over a decade, and just music's a big part of my life. Animals are a big part of my life, and just yeah, that's kind of it. That's me.
Who are some of your musical influences?
Oh gosh, I love Taylor Swift. I also, like, growing up, I listened to a lot of Coldplay and a lot of Mumford and Sons, and lately there's just, you know, I love people like Paul McCartney and just iconic humans who do iconic things. Yeah, Sheryl Crow, she's a big one too.
For sure. And I definitely feel all those vibes throughout all your songs. And I have over the last few years, you have released Fences, Summertime, Different Shoulders. I really like you. And oh man, how have you seen your career grow over the last few years?
It's been bizarre. Like, you know, the last 2 years were different. I did a lot of songwriting online, and, you know, I had to find different ways to grow my career. But like before that, every year I feel like I played more shows and met more cool people. And looking back on it, like every release felt like the new big deal in my life, which it was. But then, you know, compared to now, like those were just like small potatoes. So it's really neat and really exciting and cool.
That's so fun. And this summer, we were finally able to go out and have live music in full. Tell us a bit about your summer. How has it been so far? I've seen you on a few stages.
It's been good. It's been really good. It's been busy. I think pretty much every weekend I've had shows, and, like, you know, I'm on a farm, so we were calving in May, and I'm like, I'm not going to play in May. But then people reached out, and so I had a ton of shows in May, and then June was packed, and then I had like so many during Stampede, and yeah, it's been nonstop, go, 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 and I'm very grateful for it. So,
Where has been your favorite place you've played so far this summer?
oh man, um, that's really hard. I was invited by the Frontiers to join them for their residency at the Rangeland tent during the Calgary Stampede, and so I was there for like 3 nights, and that was really fun. And we were just kind of living our best lives and enjoying the sort of backstage like chill vibes of Stampede, and it was really cool.
That definitely is needed during Stampede sometimes because, as you know, it gets a bit wild. So to have that chill time backstage must have felt really good. And your summer isn't over yet. You got a lot going on, but also you just released a brand new song called Small Town that is just a classic already. It is such a fun song. I absolutely love it. So tell us a bit about what the song means to you.
Definitely. Oh gosh, I wrote it right kind of in the first few months of 2020, and I always dislike alluding to it, but it was right after like lockdown happened, and I couldn't play live, and I'm like, I'm gonna write songs. And I felt really emotional one night, kind of reminiscing about my childhood and how things were so different from, obviously that situation, and just feeling really nostalgic and thinking about my family. And so Small Town sort of came out in like an hour, and I was sitting there like crying, and I never usually cry when I write songs. And so it kind of, it's kind of like a song about nostalgia and growing up, but it's also kind of hopeful and kind of about embracing the unknown of the future. And yeah.
Well, it is such a gorgeous song. It came out on August 9th. And of course, everybody's going to want to know where can they find it and where can they find out more about you?
Yeah, you can find it on like all digital streaming platforms. It'll be there. My website is lizchristensenmusic.com. You can find links from there. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Liz Christensen Music. And yeah, I'm hopping around. I'm posting stuff and keeping in touch with everybody. So yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Liz. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, Sarah. You are the most incredible supporter of music in this province, and we love you so much.
And taking another 7-day forecast look here in the border city. Starting off on Friday, we're going to be seeing a lot of hot temperatures there at a high of 29 degrees. And then going into the weekend there, we're going to be seeing a highs of 31 and 23 respectively. And then going later onto the week, everything is going to stay the same there at some really warm temperatures with 25 and 27 degrees respectively. Averages around this time of the year are a high of 23 and a low of 9.
Thank you so much for that, Adel. It's great to have you doing weather today. And everyone heading down to Halstead Downs, make sure you bring some water. It's going to be a hot weekend. That's all the time we have, though, for our first hour of Primetime Local News. Our second hour continues next.